Hello and welcome to Compelled to Act. Today we're going to be watching Meet the Press, talk to JD Vance, and he's going to be addressing his childless cat lady comments that everyone's raising a steak about. Uh, and I don't think it's such a big deal, but since the media wants to play it up so much, I guess we better take a look, right? I don't know about you guys. I'm not totally sold on JD Vance yet. I feel like he's kind of a wild card in what we're looking at in the current or the future possible administration. Not really sure how well he's going to fit in, but I guess we're going to figure that out. But let's go ahead and see what they have to say about the subject today.
The Census Bureau estimates there are 22 million women between the ages of 20 and 40 who, for whatever reason, do not have children. What do you say to those women who hear some of your comments, including the Childless Cat Lady comments, which you've been asked about, but who feel as though you won't represent them?
Well, I
22 million women between 20 and 40. Okay. It, are they that offended? I mean, if you're childless, are you offended by being called childless? And if you do or don't have a cat, like isn't isn't the left the party that like claims all the outrageous stuff as their identity? So why aren't they owning this too? Now, have you guys seen the cat lady comment? I think that's actually pretty pertinent because she makes it sound like it's a direct attack on the people. So, real quick, we're going to hop off of this screen. We're going to pop right over here to good old Megan Kelly. I picked her to watch this clip from because one of the other networks, it had a very brief edit in the very middle of the clip where they just removed like three words, but I don't like removing any context. I want to see the full context, and I trusted Megan to give it to me, and she did not disappoint. So real quick, let's take a look at what he actually said.
we're effectively run in this country via the Democrats, via our corporate oligarchs, by a bunch of childless cat ladies who are miserable at their own lives and the choices that they've made, and so they want to make the rest of the country miserable too. And it's just a basic fact. You look at Kamala Harris, Pete Buttigieg, AOC, the entire future of the Democrats is controlled by people without children.
Now, you're going to see the date up here, original air date July 29th, 2021. So I'm assuming I'm giving him credit on this one. I'm going to assume that was still before Pete Booty Plug adopted his children or child or however. I don't keep track. I just know he had a lot of time off for a baby, so I know he's got one. So I'm gonna give him the benefit of the doubt and say that happened. This interview was before that happened, so he could be correct there. Um, I do have to push back on Kamala Harris, though she does not have children of her own. She does have stepchildren. So, at very least, you can make an argument that Kamala's got some skin in the game when it comes to thinking about children's futures. Whether or not she does, I don't know, but I'll push back on that. JD was kind of wrong to list her. Probably not the best name to pick out of the lot. So there's some criticism towards JD there. Let's see what else he says here.
Well, the Harris team
Well, I
recirculated.
guess that was actually the whole clip. It's not a whole big thing. But yeah, he didn't say the the cat ladies in America are the problem. He said the ones in government leading things are, which I mean, there's an argument to be made there. It would go the same for men too. If you don't have children, then I'm kind of wondering what your vision of our future is, because it's not an altruistic version formed out of love and desire for your kids to have a better life than you did. So, you know, you can argue motivation there, but there you go. That was JD's comment. If you had never seen it, And yeah, he was wrong in it a bit, but it was also just kind of a general comment, not really directed at the voters. So, whatever.
I'd say, first of all, I will represent you. I want to be the vice president for the whole country, and I want to represent everybody. And yes, I made a sarcastic comment years ago that I think that a lot of Democrats have willfully misinterpreted. But what I've simply said is that I think that it's really a profound change that's happened in our country where we become anti-family, and I would like to change that. And I think if you talk to young women, whether they have children or don't want to have children, what you consistently hear is that a lot of young women feel like they don't have options. I saw this with my own wife, who's a working mother, who's a very, very accomplished litigator. She has 3 beautiful kids and always felt like she was having to balance being a good mom with being the kind of litigator that she wanted to be. I just want women to have more choices. I've seen that.
So he says it's a sarcastic remark. And I mean, I guess, but it didn't really feel sarcastic. It did feel like a pot shot. Not gonna deny that. But again, I think at that time he was more punching up, or at least adjacent to him, than he was down. So again, I don't really hate it. I mean, I don't think it's something to be ashamed of, I guess. But like you said, he wants women to have options. I'm not really sure on what options those are. Um, I don't think he's going to lay them out. So I kind of feel like this is a pretty fluff filled interview so far, or this section. Um, I don't know. Maybe he'll get a little more clear here in a minute.
That very personally in my own family, and I think it's something that is broken about our country.
Let me zoom out a little bit. Then
Please.
you're calling it a sarcastic comment.
Sure.
And yet, some women, and you got the feedback in real time, felt like it was a gut punch to them personally. Do you?
See, then this is where I have to defend JD, because a gut punch personally attack, like, no, come on. Again, if somebody calls me something I objectively know I'm not, it's not going to bother me. And if they call me something I know I am, it's also not going to bother me. Like, eh, how have we gotten so far away from sticks and stones will break my bones, but words will never hurt me? Like, of all the things you could be offended by, it's a really nondescript throwaway comment that doesn't matter at all in the grand scale of things. And I I'm of the belief of you don't have to target specific groups to maintain human rights, because human rights apply to all humans. So I don't need to specifically make rights for women. I don't need to specifically make rights for minority groups. I don't need to specifically make rights for any group. If it's a right, it's a right for everybody. I think that's a pretty simple philosophy to understand. But anyways, let's it was a gut punch. A gut punch of insult. I can't imagine being so offended over something so simple.
You regret making that comment?
Look, I regret certainly that a lot of people took it the wrong way, and I certainly regret that the DNC and Kamala Harris lied about it.
But do you regret what you said, Senator?
Look, Kristen, I'm going to say things from time to time that people disagree with. I'm a real person. I'm going to make jokes. I'm going to say things sarcastically. And I think that what's important is that we focus on the policy. There is.
So I do like that, because let's face it, if somebody's every word is planned and scripted, they're very likely not going to say anything that can get them in trouble. It's all polished and it's fake. And I don't want that. I want somebody that's an actual real person. And yes, you will say things wrong sometimes, or you will say stupid things sometimes. You will make mistakes. We're human. Yeah. Anybody that's trying to act like they don't make mistakes or they're polished all the time, it's a facade. It's a lie. It's deception. And it's done for a reason. It's to convince you that they're someone they're not. So yeah, I definitely am with JD on this. I want I want our officials to be actual people, not slick scripted robots.
Certainly going to be things that I say. If I'm elected vice president, people are going to say, well, I wish he had said that differently. I think it's most important to actually be the person I actually am and to say those sarcastic comments were made in the service of a real substantive point. This country has become too anti-family. It's too expensive to afford a house. It's too expensive to afford groceries.
So he's nailing it right there. It is extremely hard. It's basically impossible to get a house on your own anymore. You have to have two incomes to almost survive. And then you throw children on top of it, and your daycare becomes as expensive as what you're making on one of the incomes. And a lot of it's untenable. And I don't understand how we're having such a lack of housing and everything else. Yes, we had inflation. Yes, there's global things going on, but housing in America at this point should have really cooled off by now. And I have a feeling it's, the investment groups or whatever messing that up. But, you know, yeah, yeah, we definitely need to make it easier to have a family in this country because man, it's getting hard out there, guys. I know you all see it. I mean, you go to the grocery store, that bill is, oh, it's heartbreaking, isn't it? You get a couple things and you just got whapped for $60 and you're like, that was like lunch stuff. What happened? Where'd my money go? It's awful. But so yeah, I agree with him there,
Donald Trump and I want to change that. And unless we get better leadership, we're not going to.
But again, just very quickly, given that people have told you directly, have spoken out, have said that they were offended, they were hurt by those comments, do you wish you never made those childless cat lady comments?
I think that it's
3 years later, they were just so hurt by those comments 3 years ago. Like, I know there's more to this interview, but I can't see in modern politics right now this being the most pressing issue. I mean, look at her. Look at her. She is incensed. Like, how dare you not just cower down and apologize and say you're gonna, disappear into the woods and never be seen again because of the shame that you brought upon yourself with that comment. It's like, it's not that big a deal, lady. What are you thinking? It's not that big a deal. Move on. Get over it.
It's much more important for me to just be a normal human being who sometimes says things that people disagree with. I have a lot of regrets, Kristen, but making a joke 3 years ago is not in the top 10 of the list.
Thanks for watching. Stay updated.
Well, I like that at least. Hey, that statement is not even a top 10 of my regrets. Maybe they should have been like, okay, give me a few. Give me some examples of what you do regret so that we know what you're changing moving forward. But of course, they're not going to do that. But yeah, that's JD Vance talking to Meet the Press about his childless cat lady comment. I think it's a really silly topic. I think it's what you latch on to when you don't have much else to go on. And you would think it was a slow news cycle, like there's not enough going on to cover. I'm pretty sure they could find some real stuff to cover if they wanted to. They just don't. But there we go, guys. As always, thank you so much for spending some time with me. I hope you enjoyed the video. If you have something that you would like me to throw my opinion at, let me know down in the comments. And if it seems appropriate, I will do my best to get to it. And with that being said, until next time, I hope you guys have a great day.